So, House Republicans have officially released their version of the Trump administration tax bill, which, of course, Donald Trump was bragging about taxes. He was talking about how we need high-quality tax cuts and how those were going to save Christmas. I'm not kidding, he actually said that. But let's see. The bill proposes permanently cutting the corporate tax rate from 35% to 20%. They also gain new, more favorable treatment of income earned abroad, which is either not taxed or taxed at an even lower rate than 20%, 12% for money held in liquid assets like stocks and bonds, and 5% for intangibles like buildings and factories. Okay, so first off, corporations in general get a 15% tax cut. Immediately. That's right there pretty big. However, I'd like to focus on the fact that the minimum federal income tax under this bill is 12%. I've brought that up before. Which, by the way, would not make this an official tax cut if you were making, if you were on the lowest bracket before, because the lowest bracket before was 10%. So calling it a tax cut there is misleading. However, if you make your money through stocks and bonds, basically that's the capital gains rate, that's 12%. So you could be making millions a year through stocks, but some guy who's making 40 grand a year will be paying the exact same tax rate as you. And then, if you have buildings or factories, that's taxed at half the rate of the minimum income bracket. So right there, that's a huge tax cut just for the rich. Not for the poor, which Donald Trump was talking about how they were across the board. One tax cut in, they're not. Okay, let's continue. By raising the threshold for the 39.6% rate on individual income to $1 million for couples, up from $470,700 today, people with incomes in the $600,000 to $700,000 range will get a sizable reduction in addition to the low-end tax cut they will get because of the new 12% bracket will apply to income now taxed at 15 or 25%. Oh God. That's a lot to unpack. Now, I've heard people like Steven Crowder all the time say, oh, saying 1% is misleading because 1% is only like 500,000 a year. So, this would mostly affect the 1% just by default, according to people like that. But let alone, this isn't helping, or it isn't nearly as much helping people who are making 60 to 70,000. This is specifically helping people who make 600 to 700,000. Again, massive tax cut. And the people who could actually benefit from tax cuts, they're not getting it. Okay, but what about the estate tax? The estate tax was designed to tax inheritance after $5 million, I believe. And just to specifically make it so people couldn't have, basically someone's daddy couldn't have made all the money, and then have it just passed down to the kid who didn't know anything. The estate tax is first reduced by doubling the exemption, meaning it'd go from about $5 million to about $10 million, and then eliminated entirely by 2024. So basically, if you didn't work a day in your life, oh, whoops. You get all the inheritance money anyway. Just magically you stay rich. Whoops. Okay, not only that, but the alternative minimum tax, which increases taxes for certain affluent or upper middle class households, is repealed. For those who don't know what the alternative minimum tax is, basically, there were people who were using so many deductions, typically huge corporation owners, who had so many loopholes and used so many deductions that they basically decreased their tax rate to basically nothing, or they got a net subsidy through the government. What the alternative minimum tax did was it made it so if you are making, I forget exactly how much, but if you basically own a corporation, then by default you're going to have to pay this amount. Okay, no matter what. Those are just the most basic taxes that are affected by this. And you know what the bill is doing? It's cutting taxes for the 1%, for the rich. For the people who don't need those tax cuts. As for the people who do need those tax cuts, for people who are making, half of the country makes under 30 grand a year, sucks to be you then. You don't get any tax cuts. You may actually get your tax raised. And for that matter, this is somehow going to balance the budget, even though it's giving the government less revenue. Amazing. I'm Ephrom, and good night.